Lucia is the head of Exodia, and so she carries Rupture teams like Yuzua carries Anomaly. That makes surprisingly little sense, but I wanted that Yu-Gi-Oh reference in here. And to make sure your Exodia also has legs and arms, today let's talk about her kit and how she plays, her best weapons, distress and distress sets, her main substats, her teams and Mindscapes, and lastly, let's also talk about her pros and cons. Welcome, I'm Rivyn Elowen, but you may call me Rivy, and this is your complete updated guide to the totally unrelated Lucia Elowen. Lucia is an HP scaling ether support specifically designed for Rupture teams, and hence that is also where she excels in. And oh boy does she do it well. You will notice an absolutely massive difference between having her and, not having her. Just as with today's sponsor, where you will notice a massive difference in saving money between using them and, well, not using them as well. Enjoy GM as a top-up site for your favorite games such as Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, Arknights, Enfield, and of course zzzero. Simply head to the site, select the pack you want, enter your UID, select your server, and top up. Easy, fast, and more so importantly, cheap. New users will receive an exclusive 8% site-wide coupon upon registration, and in addition, your first purchase not only comes with a dedicated 10 to 20% discount, but you will also unlock member-exclusive pricings for popular games after your first purchase. First, use your first purchase discount to unlock member pricing, then apply the 8% site-wide coupon for maximum savings. As no account logins or passwords are required, and with EnjoyGM being PCI DSS certified, ensuring secure transactions, they are also safe and reliable. And if you have any questions, EnjoyGM provides you with a 24/7 human customer support to assist you. If you are looking to pull for your favorite wife or husbando in your favorite gacha game, why not head over to EnjoyGM using my link in the description or pinned comment and get yourself an exclusive discount today. Thanks again to EnjoyGM for sponsoring this video, and with that, back to the video. Let's begin with Lucia's unique resource and mechanics, dream points, her dream state, and her unique skill states, whim and harmony. Most of her skills can be considered either a whim or a harmony attack. If Lucia is in the dream state, all of her attacks will be treated as being of the harmony type, whereas when outside of the state, some of her attacks are of the whim type. Her basic attack 5, quick assist, special and dodge counter are considered whim type attacks, and her chain, EX special ultimate and assist follow-up are always considered harmony type attacks. Lucia generates dream points when using whim skills. When dream points reach 100, Lucia enters the aforementioned dream state. Whenever she uses a whim skill during the dream state, it will be upgraded and deal a massively increased damage while also consuming 25 dream points. Attacks that are considered harmony by default do not consume any dream points. In the dream state, if Lucia is off-field and another character attacks, she may launch an inactive aftershock attack once every 8 seconds. Performing such an aftershock or upgrading a skill from whim to harmony will reset this timer, and that will become very important later on. These aftershock attacks are also of the harmony type, which means that they will consume 25 dream points. If the dream points deplete to 0, she will then exit the dream state. Whenever Lucia enters said dream state, however, she will summon a field-wide zone called Ether Veil. Ether Veil lasts for 40 seconds, and repeated activations will extend this duration up to a maximum of 300 seconds. When Ether Veil is activated, she will trigger a quick assist, and while it is active, the maximum HP of all team members is increased by 5%. Whenever Lucia uses a harmony skill or launches an aftershock, she will also apply a buff to all agents called Dreamer's Nursery Rhyme. I will just refer to this as the damage bonus buff going forwards, because it grants a 20% damage bonus to the team. This buff lasts for 12 seconds, and repeated triggers reset the duration, which means this buff will have a permanent uptime given that she is played correctly. And lastly, to finish our overview of her core skill, she will begin combat with a 60 dream points. Lucia also features a 5-part basic attack string, and surprisingly, we will actually use this. That is because her basic 5 is a whim attack and it will grant her 40 dream points when used outside of the dream state. We will get back to this later on. We will never use her dodge, dodge counter or dash attack, so there is no need for us to cover them any further. Her chain attack and assist follow-up also do what a chain attack and assist follow-up are supposed to do, and while both of them are always considered as harmony skills, they will still grant her 40 dream points when used outside of said dream state. Her quick assist may or may not see much use, depending on your team, but if you do, it is considered a whim as well and will hence grant 20 dream points. Again, as all skills in the dream state are converted to the harmony type, dream points are only generated when outside of it. Lucia also has a special attack, and when using it outside of the dream state, this whim special will generate 20 dream points. Even though the dream point bonus can only trigger once every 5 seconds, this skill might or might not find some use in certain scenarios. Lucia's EX special, on the other hand, is always of the harmony type, costs 60 energy and deals a good chunk of damage. More importantly, however, when Lucia uses any harmony type skill, she applies a buff called Darkbreaker for 20 seconds to the team. This buff provides up to 900 flat combat sheer force at skill level 12, with the strength of the buff scaling with her initial maximum HP. It starts at 12 points and she will grant an additional 7.4 points of sheer force for every 200 initial HP she has. Initial HP are the HP shown in white numbers in the stat screen. The scaling is not fixed and it does not require exactly 200 HP for a 7.4 sheer force increase to the buff. It could also simply be worded as every point of initial HP increases her sheer force buff by 0.037. This buff maxes out at 24,000 initial HP, and when using a harmony type skill, the duration will be refreshed. Since her aftershocks are also considered being of the harmony type, this applies to her aftershocks as well, and because of that you can essentially expect a 100% uptype on this. Additionally, the damage of all harmony type skills will then also be increased by 70% of her max HP. Lastly, when using her EX special while she's in the dream state and if Ether Veil is active, the duration of Ether Veil will be extended by 16 seconds, and if used outside of the dream state, it will grant 60 dream points instead. As for her ultimate, it is always of the harmony type. Lucia will summon a Spectre, and while Lucia is invincible during the initial activation, she is not during the ride. Instead, she cannot die, as during it, her maximum HP can only ever go down to 1. When the rush attack ends, she will deal a good chunk of damage in an AoE around her, and if it hits an enemy, also trigger a quick assist. Additionally, on cast, she will leave behind an AoE effect on the ground for 8 seconds. When an active character is within this field, they will then gain a healing over time effect, recovering their own health at a rate of 1.6% of Lucia's maximum HP per second. This healing over time lasts for either 4 seconds or until the character goes off field. Furthermore, when using her ultimate outside of the dream state, she gains 100 dream points. However, if she uses it while in the dream state, she will gain 100 dream points the next time she exits the dream state instead. While in the dream state, and if Ether Veil is active, using her ultimate will also extend Ether Veil's duration by 32 seconds. This effectively means that using her ultimate during the dream state is the most optimal play, as we first gain a 32-second duration extension on Ether Veil, and a second instantly re-enter the dream state the next time we exit it. Finishing up her kit, if she is paired with a Rupture Stun Agent, her Darkbreaker buff will also grant an additional 30% crit damage. Knowing all of that, let's end the kit overview with her skill priority. Due to both her sheer damage buff and also the HP scaling on the harmony skill, scaling with her EX level, as well as having 3 different aftershocks on her basics, assist and also special, more on that during the addendums right after, our skill priority will be her EX special and core, followed by her basics and assist, then chain, and lastly dodge. We can leave her dodge at level 1. I want to expand just a little bit more on her aftershocks and harmony upgrades, because frankly, this is important. Her basic 5, special, quick assist and also dodge counter are all considered whim attacks outside of the dream state, and when used during the dream state, she will then upgrade those skills to harmony attacks. Her aftershocks can only trigger once every 8 seconds, but this cooldown doesn't just begin when an aftershock is performed, it also starts when an upgraded move is used. This effectively means that using her basic 5, special, quick assist and dodge counter will lock Lucia out from using her aftershock for 8 seconds, even though these moves aren't aftershocks themselves. Because of this, we want to avoid using the skills in the dream state. Her EX special, ultimate assist follow-up and chain attack are safe to use however, as they will not restart the cooldown timer. Furthermore, Lucia actually has 3 aftershocks, and not 1, and they all share the same cooldown. One is listed under her basic attack, represented by Dullahan, the second is her quick assist, represented by Thracian, and the third is her special, represented by Thanatos. When Lucia casts her aftershock, she will randomly choose one of the 3 aftershocks to cast. Yes, you did hear that right, randomly. While all 3 skills have the same damage MV at max level, they have a different amount of multi-hits to them, and because they will randomly choose one of her aftershocks, if you care about her damage output, you want to max out all of her relevant aftershock skills. However, I also do want to mention that it is actually not that important, and it is not gonna be a big difference, but it might help you hit 20,000 points in Deadly Assault. Otherwise, her playstyle is really simple, with her most notable combo primarily being assist follow-up or basic 5 into her EX special or vice versa, so we will not really cover them any further. If you are looking for an exact visual breakdown of her combos, please check out my original Lucia guide, as nothing has changed since then. You will find a link in the description. Most people skip right here, so hi, welcome! I hope you have a great day and my calculations will help you out. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Statistically, there is a good chance you are not yet subscribed. Thank you. I love you. Lucia's best in slot weapon is her own signature, and that should be to absolutely nobody's surprise. Without her signature, it will be pretty difficult to max out her sheer force buff, but do we need to max out her buff? Well, no we don't, it is a bonus and not a requirement, but her signature does help with it. However, Lucia's signature not only gives a much wider build variety, it also provides her with passive energy regeneration, as well as a team-wide 25% damage bonus and a 15% combat HP buff. These buffs alone make her signature very good already, not accounting for the ease of build. Outside of her signature, an R5 unfettered game ball is the best choice and highly preferred over other options. However, it should also be noted that Lucia cannot trigger game ball's passive versus non-ether weak enemies. This makes game ball an exceptional choice versus the likes of Miasma Priest and UCC, but also essentially useless when up versus, for example, Wandering Hunter. If you are free to play or you are using Lucia versus non-ether weak enemies, Kaboom the Cannon or Weeping Cradle will be what you will be looking at. Please note that Weeping Cradle only provides energy regeneration while off-field, and Lucia will be on-field every once in a while due to her aftershocks, which means she will miss out on some energy from it. Lucia's best 4-piece is Moonlight Lullaby with no real other option. If you run her signature, as for the 2-piece, either of Woodpecker Electro, Chaotic Metal Hormone Punk or S-Full Voice, Yonkoi Summit, Puffer Electro or Branch and Blade Song will do well enough. With a special shout out to Swing Jazz, as it allows for some much smoother rotations and also slightly better uptime on her buff early on when playing with Banyue and Yetari. However, choose whatever has the best substats and brings you closer to the 24,000 initial max HP. For most players, I would recommend a 2-piece Yonkoi Summit, and for the min-maxers, a 2-piece Swing Jazz. With any other weapon that is not her signature, we definitely want a 2-piece Yonkoi Summit, as it is already hard enough to reach the 24,000 max HP. I suppose nowadays you can also just simply run the bunny set. As for main stats, we are looking at HP percent in all 3 slots. Theoretically, there can be made an argument for energy regeneration in slot 6 if you have her signature, but I would only recommend it for the sole purpose of decibel generation. For 99.9% of the player base, however, I believe HP percent to be the better choice, and especially even more so if you don't have her signature. As for substats, well, you are looking at all the HP you can get until around 24,000 initial HP, then you can focus on crit values or attack percent after, and lastly flat pen and a flat attack. Lucia's Mindscape 1 is arguably one of the best Mindscape 1s in the game. Not only is it a flat-out 18% team damage increase, or 11% against a 20% ether weak enemy, but it also increases the decibel generation rate for the entire team by 5%. DGR is a stat that applies to all kinds of decibel generation, which makes it a very good stat to have. However, if you cannot make effective use of it, it does also absolutely nothing. In addition, whenever she uses a harmony attack, she will also gain 1 stack of echo, and that effectively just makes sure that you will not have ever any downtime on the damage bonus buff she provides with her core passive, as she will be immediately recasting her core Dreamer's Nursery Rhyme at the cost of 1 stack as soon as it ends. Her Mindscape 2 is pretty good as well, granting a flat 15% damage bonus to her harmonies as well as a 15% sheer damage bonus to the team while in Ether Veil. Due to sheer damage being a separate modifier in the damage formula, this is extraordinarily strong. However, sheer damage bonus is also often provided through, for example, Deadly Assault buffs, as well as Yijuan's signature or Yunqui Summit's 4-piece effect, so this Mindscape loses quite a bit of value depending on your level of investment in your primary carry or the current Deadly Assault buff. Her M3 and M5 exist, and her M4 can grant up to 700 decibels per Deadly Assault run, although realistically this will be 600 most of the time. Paired with the additional decibel generation rate from her M1, this Mindscape is surprisingly good, but the actual value will heavily depend on your team and how you play. Lastly, her M6 directly boosts her personal damage by quite a lot, providing 500 flat combat attack at 24,000 initial HP, guaranteeing that your harmonies crit and increasing her crit damage for harmony attacks by 30% as well. Not the craziest Mindscape, but if you want your Lucia to deal significant personal damage, this is a great choice. A good stopping point is her Mindscape 2, and I would recommend her signature over her M1 for the ease of build, as well as allowing you to run a 2-piece swing jet for swing jets for smoother routings. Lucia's teams have one big problem: regardless of which team you look at, all of them kinda just really want Dylan for the most ideal performance. Yijuan can pair well with Jufufu, Jingyu or Trigger as well, however, with Jingyi being arguably the best option outside of Dylan. Jufufu is the easiest to play, and Trigger can work quite nicely as well. If you decide to play Trigger, switch out her signature for another better option such as a Teapot, Restrained, Blazing Laurel or Fossilized Core, as the defense shred does nothing for Rupture units. The basically exact same can be said for both Banyu and Minato as well, with a small addendum of Lycon being a fine choice as well after his buffs, especially versus Wandering Hunter. Jingyi can still work, but personally due to her high field time requirement I prefer other options. Yetari absolutely loves Lucia, and while Dylan is Yetari's best option as well, Lycon is absolutely fantastic as well and can also work with the other previously mentioned units. If you're free to play, I suppose either of Koleeda or Panhu will do in the last slot, albeit all current Rupture units heavily prefer stunners, so I would recommend Koleeda over Panda. Lucia is still a very significant upgrade over all other currently available supports for Rupture teams. However, she also doesn't really do too much outside of those teams. She is very investment friendly if you disregard her own damage, but also very expensive if you care about it. She doesn't need her signature, but due to the buffs her signature provides to the team, it is still a pretty good investment, albeit outside of herself, no other support can use her weapon. Her Mindscape 1 is also absolutely fantastic if you are looking to invest more into her, and she is also rather simple to play, but that also means her skill ceiling is on the lower side. And with that, we are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave me a comment on whether or not you are getting Rivyn Elowen this time around, or, well, not of course, join the Discord. And a special thanks to my YouTube and Patreon members who make this content possible. If you wish to support me, you will find a link to my Patreon in the description, or click the join button right below this video. And as always, I appreciate all of you and wish you a great day. Peace!